I think we're live.
Yep.
Perfect. We'll just...
This will not change.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome for this webinar with me. I'm the program director for the software development program, and we have a very special guest today with us, Mayank, who is the CEO of UpGrad. We have invited him specifically for today's session to talk about two things primarily. One is to share his journey of both the launching UpGrad and how has the last 3 years been since the company was founded, and also talk a little bit more about the role tech and software has played largely in the development of the company, both currently and also in sort of the future. So, Mike, just want to say hi to our viewers right now.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to hear us on this webinar. There are multiple objectives of this particular webinar, but particularly I was interested in participating in this webinar to just share at least my entrepreneurial background journey as to why we started with UpGrad, what was the journey there. And I specifically talking about for this particular program, why this program we chose and what implication does it have for us as an organization. And I would love to sort of perhaps cover both of them together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think guys, just in terms of the context, in terms of how the session will go, what we will do is we'll keep it very informal and have it in a Q&A format. We don't have any sort of like PPT or any deck to share. We'll just have a few questions that we wanted to sort of like put forth to Mayank and to myself upfront, and then the session would be open to you guys. The floor would be open. If you have any questions, just use the chat window and like put forth those questions. And once we're done with some of the earlier topics, we'll sort of keep taking them one at a time to help address most of your doubts. So great. So Mike, I think the first thing that we wanted to share with the viewers is like just talk us through the journey, talk us through why you started UpGrad, what need did you see in the market, especially in the Indian context, and how has the last 3 years been?
No, sure. I think there are 2-3 things, at least for the education space specifically, because I've been in the education sector for now close to 10 years. Jaspreet and I used to work together in one organization where we focused on sort of advising companies in the education sector. A lot we saw there. We saw the entire sort of K-12 education, pre-K education, then higher education, etc. I think from the Indian context, at least I realized that on the higher education space, which is anything above K-12 or school education, there's a huge potential. And largely for the following reason. I think one, we have a very large population base who should be going through higher education, but they are not. Just to give you guys some number, there are about 150 million individuals who should be studying in higher education because they are in the age group of 18 to 24, but less than 30 million are. So the participation ratio there in itself is sub 20%, and hence it's very, very small number. And we felt online has to play a role in taking that number higher. The second, which is largely how we started, and many of you guys are thinking of in that direction. I'll give you very simple statistics. My father was in one job for his entire career. My mother did just one job for her entire career. And in the situation where we are, I have gone through 3 different job changes. Jaspreet has gone through 4 different job changes, and 3 different job changes, and each one of them have led to a different type of skill sets being needed.
Yes.
I think gone are the days when we could say that, look, when I graduated from my school, there was no such role as full stack developer.
Yes.
There was no such role as front-end developer.
Mobile developer.
Yeah, there was no such role as... there were 15 people who had mobile phones in the college. And look at where we are right now. This is going to further accelerate, and as an individual, as a professional, we cannot assume that after we have gone through the age of 23, 24, my education is over.
Yeah.
Education is a continuous need that will continue to happen. And those things led to the journey of UpGrad, and why on a macro basis we decided to start with a journey at UpGrad.
Perfect. And just in terms of the route you took, sort of you mentioned that upskilling or having access to education programs that can continuously move from one job or help you move from one career to another career is important. But why did you choose digital as a platform or as a medium? Why did you think that it has to be a software-led solution?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very important point. For us, or at least for me personally, it was very clear that if we are doing this, it has to be scaled.
Yeah.
And we have seen a lot of universities, in my own experience, have gone through multiple universities, but there's a natural cap to how much we can scale. And that's where technology comes in very, very handy. And when we're doing this sort of thought process, we realized I had 2 different models. One was an offline-led model, the other one was a digital/software-led model.
Yeah.
And we chose the software-led model largely from a scalability perspective. And I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, Jaspreet, if you think of how education was done, used to be the situation that books would get delivered to different universities, and people will read from their books. And most of the online content has been that you can get access to a Harvard content, a Wharton content, or a Stanford content using multiple MOOCs platform, and you will get access to content. But education is far beyond that.
Yes.
Education requires mentoring, education requires feedback, education requires real-time assessment and real-time feedback coming from the assignment that you have submitted. It requires casework, project work, group assignments, individual assignments, etc. All of that is what comprises education, and sometimes education requires a fair amount of push also. So what we realize that if you look at how universities are structured, there's so much of moving part, which are very manual intensive, and therefore it requires a fair amount of work. And that's why university cannot have more than 1,000, 10,000 students. We realize if we can take some of these solutions and leverage technology and software to automate and to scale up the delivery. Instead of mentoring 1:5, can I mentor 1:500? Instead of mentoring 1:100 in terms of student push, can I mentor to 1:1,000? All of this was only possible for us using technology, and therefore, when I was starting up, it was very important for me to have a co-founder who understands technology from that context. And without that, I could not have started my own venture as well.
Wonderful. So I think, guys, I mean, just to sort of take Mayank's journey or take UpGrad's journey and draw a larger sort of parallel, we do have a lot of startup founders or entrepreneurs joining us in our software development program. I think that the main message that we want you guys to take away is that technology or software related solution is one of the key drivers of today's day and age in terms of launching or scaling businesses, whether you're talking about edtech in this context, whether you're talking about e-commerce solutions, financial services solutions. What you have to understand why people are gravitating towards software-led solutions. Why do most companies want tech to be the core driver? And that's largely because it gives you a tremendous opportunity to scale. And I think that is really, really important, because that opens up so many different ways in which you can serve your customers better, to sort of help organizations or whatever your passion is. So ultimately, I think the important takeaway for us here is that whether you're in the education business or any other digital-led business, the amount of leverage any organization can get when it has a technology-based as a core differentiator or a driver of business is really, really important. And I think that then naturally leads to this entire sort of ecosystem where there's a huge demand for good developer talent.
And that's why specifically for this particular program, I don't know if you guys are aware, we do have option if you guys are thinking of becoming an entrepreneur at the end of the program, to provide you access to bootcamp / incubation facility at IIIT Bangalore also.
Yes, because we actually realize that a lot of developers want to work in startups. They want to sort of like be in this sort of new innovative space. And I think with that sort of idea, yes, there is a very interesting sort of incubation at IIIT Bangalore. And if you guys are interested in that sort of angle from a coding or development perspective, that's sort of available to you guys. Just in terms of just talking about the importance of tech, I think we spoke about the scalability. Just if you can spend a little bit about the developer himself, the software himself, how closely do you involve yourself, or how much do you think these team of developers can just add value from just helping the business or growing the business perspective?
I think I personally may not appreciate writing of codes really well, but I do believe that a lot of what we do is to ensure that the humans who are participating in this entire delivery of education scales up significantly. Therefore, we are obsessive about how do we scale up this entire sort of delivery of the platform. I'll give you a very simple example. There are two types of companies possible. There could be a company which is like Google, which relies a lot on data. And there's a company like Amazon, which relies on data, but also scales up delivery. If you are working in Google, if you want to go from here till the airport, you will put the airport, and on the way from your house to the airport, you don't have to ask anyone. You can just look at the app, and the app will tell the solution. So Google software, in a way, has completely eliminated humans in this entire approach, and there's no need for humans to find ways. Otherwise, we would have stopped on the way and asked, ki, aage se right lena hai ki left lena, and then the process will work out. Amazon, on the other hand, it's another fantastic company that leverages technology to scale up human delivery. If I can deliver 100 packets, can I deliver 1 million in the next 5 days? Can I deliver 10 million packets in the next 10 days? That's the power of technology. In one case, I've eliminated humans. In the other case, I've used the same set of human capabilities and scaled that up significantly higher. So if you think from a value perspective, just as a software developer, you literally are, how to put it, so you literally are responsible for 100 other people or 200 other people or maybe even a million plus people whose job you are impacting on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And that's where the power comes in for the technology team that we have also, because our day-to-day thought process is how would a consumer learn better? But at the same time, on the back end of it, we always think about how will grading happen faster? Can I resolve your doubts and in under 5 minutes time? Can I bring in a real, once you have submitted an assignment of code, can you get real-time feedback within 7 days of turnaround time, such that you don't have to wait for the turnaround time? Imagine when we are in colleges, and if we submit an assignment, it will take 2 months for the faculty member to come back and give us the feedback.
Yes.
Boss, you did this right, did this wrong. Leveraging technology, we are able to drive that under 7 days or under 1 day in many, many instances. So I think those are the elements that the team adds, but it's very important for us to define the problem and appreciate the problem really well before we can apply the software development methodologies to scale and to sort of implement that in real-time action.
Yeah, and guys, just to sort of like just to complete Mayank's thought there, I think the takeaway, at least when I'm hearing him talk about this, is that whatever learning experience, the core sort of product that UpGrad has created, software developers are the people who make it happen. I think you can understand how important or how valuable this role is for us, and understandably the kind of people that we have in our team or the kind of effort we take to hire such people is really, really high. So no, if you are in today's day and age, if you're a software developer working in an environment which, you're creating a digital solution, whether it's in a large company like Microsoft or Infosys, or even in a startup like UpGrad, you are going to be one of the most sort of important member in any team, because you are directly influencing and responsible for sort of scaling the product and creating that sort of product or a business which is core to that sort of idea.
Let me just add one small thing. We have about 40 people in our technology team.
Yes.
But in terms of the cost base, they are the most expensive one.
Yeah.
So if I look at the P&L every day in and day out, I look after the tech team, and they're the highest cost structure team in the organization. I think 2 points to this. I mean, it does not pain me to see that. In the sense, I mean, if I have to invest in sales and technology, I'll invest without thinking on these two things, because the returns are infinite. I mean, there's no percentage return that I get for investing one software developer at the end of the day. But the fact is that these guys do command a premium in the market.
Yeah.
If you have graduated from the same institution, and if you have taken up a full stack developer role or a backend developer role, you end up commanding a higher premium had you been in a services role or those roles. And we have had people who have moved from IT services to backend development and front end development, and they're seeing the value of this sort of transition.
Absolutely, guys. So I mean, I think, as you can sort of see, because it's core to so much business these days, it's really, really in demand, and a lot of people really put a lot of premium when it comes to hiring good developer talent.
So last point I'll add is that not once in the history of UpGrad we have had 0 open positions in software development, in technology.
Absolutely.
And
we take a good amount of time to fill those
fair
positions.
Amount of time, and it doesn't get filled because the talent is not there. I mean, you don't get good, high quality talent on software development, and it's been one of our biggest sort of bottleneck to sort of scaling up the company, because it's very difficult to find quality talent out there.
I think one of the inside sort of reasons why we even started our software development program was we were looking to sort of hire some of those guys even for our internal teams, because simply, I mean, it's a very, very core challenge. Like, I personally spent a good amount of time sort of interviewing perhaps 50, 100 sort of engineering managers, CTOs, hiring managers in large companies, and they say that you will find a lot of software engineers in the country, but you will be very, very hard pressed to find good software engineers or good software developers in the country.
That's a very good point that you're making, because even in our interviews, when we go through the process, people do have the term software engineer, senior software engineer, but when it comes to development methodologies, how should you structure it? How should you write the right code base so that it's scalable? Those best practices get missing completely.
And guys, I mean, I think the best practices, the sort of the coding and the hands-on coding knowledge, the problem-solving mindset. I think at the end of the day, a good developer is nothing but a good problem solver. He or she needs to figure out how to deconstruct a particular problem into 10 different steps, and then write code accordingly. I think a lot of the code these days actually is not that hard to write because there are multiple libraries, multiple frameworks to use. But the problem solving mindset is what sort of differentiates an average or a mediocre performer to a really good high performer. And I think that's sort of the core part. Like, that is where an education program, or that is where a program which sort of helps you build that one at a time and sort of gives you that opportunity to put it into a hands-on format, put it into a product format is really, really important, because ultimately the portfolio that you develop or the kind of code that you write is closely linked to the problem that you're solving. It's not sort of in silo.
So out here, I'm just giving up an early booking.
Yes.
The moment in the software development program, our learners finish till front-end development.
Yes.
UpGrad will hire someone from there.
Wow.
Because we need a front-end developer which has not been closed for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I personally sort of suffer from that because we have a lot of work on our personal website which gets delayed because we don't have quality developers on the front end. So there you have it, guys. Like Mayank is sort of saying that as soon as we get somebody who has finished the front end part of the program, we would be ready to hire that guy.
The job offer is with us at UpGrad.
And that is true largely, guys, for a lot of startups in the country right now. I think the space is booming. Even companies like Infosys, Wipro, etc., creating these digital arms, which are nothing but like their way of saying that we want software developer talent to work in a startup space to develop products and solutions. So the product mindset, the development mindset, the problem-solving mindset is what the recruiters of the industry is looking for right now, and that's sort of the genesis of why we built the program.
Very simple example. About just last week,
yes,
we were at Infosys campus, and at Infosys campus, we're talking about close to 100,000 individuals who are 150, 200,000 individuals who are there.
Right, yeah.
And three things came. I mean, at least one word that came out very, very clearly is that we need someone who's a good full-stack developer.
Yeah.
One who understands end-to-end technology and can help us get this thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of buzz, but these are the guys who are the backbone of building this out. So it's not just startup, but even the largest companies.
Even the largest companies. I mean, because ultimately, these are the companies which are fighting with startups these days for the same jobs and same projects. So these kind of talent is like required across the board. And that sort of also helps us sort of demarcate some of the sort of new type of developers which are coming into the market. I think software development is an evergreen field. I mean, these jobs or these kind of engineers have been in demand over a long period of time. I mean, if you think about the history of IT as well, it has been around. But I think the current developers, especially in the Indian context, is a very different breed. It's a very different breed because so far, traditionally, India has not been known for creating products, for creating solutions, whether it be in the Indian companies or the Indian MNCs. But what has happened, guys, over the last few years is you have seen personally the tech boom in the country via the startups, right? You've seen large MNCs like Amazon, Uber coming to India and setting up their shop here. You have seen India or Indian sort of youngsters becoming more and more aspirational in terms of the kind of work they do. They don't want to do sort of the traditional IT job. They want to really build products, build solutions. And that has led to this sort of demand or this requirement for somebody who can build products and applications, who's not just sort of like, maintaining some archaic code base or just sort of like implementing some sort of off-the-shelf solutions. This person is someone who wants to build products. And that is not just a skill set change, that's also a mindset change, because that requires you to think from the consumer's perspective, that requires you to think from a problem-solving perspective. And this is this new breed of full-stack developers, right? These are developers who essentially know how to stitch together a quick product, a quick prototype. They are comfortable with backend, they're comfortable with front end, they're comfortable with databases, they're comfortable with design, they're comfortable with understanding how users think. And that is what makes them very good problem solvers, that it makes them sort of stitch together a solution very, very quickly. And perhaps they'll have one or two deep areas where they are good at, but ultimately this person is a very, very good problem solver. He can sort of combine these things together and sort of launch something. It's not that different from an entrepreneur, to be honest.
No, correct. It's not very different than being an entrepreneur. There's some questions for you on this.
Sorry.
No, so it's not very different from being an entrepreneur, and that's the reason why so we run a program on entrepreneurship, and we have had many individuals going through this. Every session after session, there's one question that always stays.
Yes.
How can I get a CTO? How can I get a tech co-founder? And when they say tech, they don't mean services and implementation and testing, etc. They mean people who understand front end, back end, and is a full stack developer, because that's the person who can help build this entire team in the long run. And then Jaspreet made a very, very important point, and I'd like to reiterate that point, that it's not a skill set change, it is also a lot of mindset change. It's not a small task of saying that, look, I was in QA, and now I want to become a full stack developer. It will require to also think very differently, think as a problem statement, think, if I ask this question of I need to travel from my house to the airport, how will the route get optimized, and how will the final answer come out? So all those things come in together when you start creating a final product.
And guys, a great way to build that kind of mindset is to go through the sort of that grind, that experience of doing it firsthand. It won't automatically happen. It's not just about learning a language or a framework. It's about going through that experience of thinking innovatively, solving solutions, and building those product and solutions in your experience, in your portfolio. I'm sort of getting some of the questions from you guys, so I'll just sort of like put that into this webinar right now. There's internship in this program? So yes, Suman, I think as Mayank was mentioning, one way in which we're giving people that experience, right, of having this problem-solving mindset and developing solutions and products is via an internship program. So we have partnered with multiple companies and will continue to do so in the coming few months or so. But I think around about course 4 or course 5, after you've done the basic foundations and you've done the backend development, you would be eligible to participate in internships with, and these would be paid internships with a minimum sort of stipend of about 45,000 rupees over 3-month time period. You would be eligible to apply for internships. We will get companies on board, and they will help you sort of like get that experience firsthand whilst you finish the program. Great. Karuna said that this is not a valid statement that in India you don't have good developers. So Karuna, just sort of like clear the matter there. I don't think we were saying that India don't have good developers. We're trying to say that there is a shift in the country that is happening, where they want to build more and more into the product mindset and product developers, where we start to see the level of innovation and product development that we see in the Silicon Valley. I think that is where the aspiration of the country lies, and that's what companies in India want to do. We do, of course, have great examples of developers developing products like Flipkart, Amazon, Ola, etc. So a lot of these things are developing in the country. I think the point that we were trying to make is that we need to do more.
No, I'll just give you some example, Karuna, that HackerRank released a report of the best developing countries and ranked them by the best development talent. Number 1 was China, number 50th was Pakistan, India came in at number 31. And on the technology front, we do have professionals, but when it comes to building world-class products, that's where we need a lot more talent right now. We need at least 1 million+ software developers, what Jaspreet is referring to, who can actually go ahead and build this kind of sort of products at the end of the day.
Because I think, Karuna, if you think about it, the kind of problems we face internally as a country in terms of what things we need to fix, whether it's for our own internal consumption or even to sort of build companies which can serve the world, we need people to not just write code to maintain servers or maintain applications. We need people to use the code to build products and solutions. I think that's sort of the main message there. Suman is saying that how much does an UpGrad offer when they hire a friend?
So I've asked this question, Suman. I'm just waiting for the response. The moment I get the response, I will answer this question for you.
Ajay is asking, it would be great if there are some meetups for the current students. Of course, Ajay, I think that's a very valid point. And as part of the UpGrad learning experience, we do organize something called UpGrad base camps, which are essentially an offline meetups where we get most of you guys together in any particular city that we are. And then, we'll have a nice sort of session. We will have some industry sessions, some professors coming. You'll get to meet your peer group. You'll get to meet your student mentors, etc. So it's part of the core learning experience. You'll hear more from us and from your student mentors over the next few months when these sessions get organized. Suman is saying that working professionals are also eligible for internship. Suman, at this stage, the way we're thinking about internships is most companies are looking for full-time internships. So if you are able to
leave your job
and be able to sort of work as a full-time intern, I think that's very much possible. However, you just have to sort of balance the two. In case you are not sort of willing to quit your day job, then it might be difficult for you to take this full-time internship offer. In the future, we will look at having a part-time internship as well, where you will be able to do something on the side while you're doing a full-time job. But at the moment, we just have full-time internship offers. Great. So I think we'll wait for some more questions. Just in terms of how the soft skill angle is something that we have not touched about so far. I think we talk a lot about developer, we talk a lot about the kind of frameworks, libraries, languages, skills, etc. The developer needs to have. Has to be a really, really good problem solver. But what about soft skill? I mean, how much do you think that is an important element when it comes to developer talent?
No, so for me, I mean, I cannot put a percentage
Sure.
important, but I would say this is a very, very important part. I mean, ultimately, we are working on as a developer, you're working on some of the most crucial aspects of business.
Yes.
Because you're building those sort of backbone at the end of the day. And therefore, it becomes very important for the person who's building it out to be able to articulate it really well.
Yes.
This is what we do at UpGrad. We have a culture of organizing hackathons on a regular basis. A hackathon is a place where we get our entire 30, 40 sort of technology professionals. We bring them to a room. We identified about 5 or 6 captains who will be the leaders, and they will choose 3, 4 team members. We consciously make sure that the leaders are not necessarily tech managers, tech leads, but these are individuals who are in the software engineering sort of on the entry level team. And at the end of the program, we encourage them to present to the larger audience. And this is just on the hackathon thing. We also organize a lot of learning sessions where we encourage all our developers to present. Once you are able to articulate what you have done really well, that's the time when you are able to explain. That's the time when you have really understood the problem. And I very sort of I have an interesting saying that I use all the time, that if you cannot explain what you're doing and what you have done to your grandmother, you have not really solved your problem.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why communication, soft skills, and soft skill is not just about communication, right? I mean, it's also about empathy. When you're working as a software developer, 10 teams rely on you. You have to prioritize, you have to optimize, you have to say, I will do this, 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 this. And sorry, Jaspreet, now you're putting in a request, you will be entered into rank 10th. And that's the time a lot of friction comes in.
Yes.
As a strong software developer, you should be in a position to have the right conversation such that you manage the stakeholders' expectation really well also.
So that's a very important point, Mayank. And just to sort of elaborate on what Mayank is saying, like even in my day-to-day work, we do, of course, use software developers quite a bit into the current ecosystem at UpGrad. You do need to do a lot of work with non-tech people. You need to explain your work to them. You need to make them understand why certain activities takes a certain amount of time. You need to tell them how they can be improved, how current solutions can be improved. So if you really want to sort of, and especially because tech has become such a crucial and critical part of business these days, that you will end up sort of talking to business stakeholders, whether it's the marketing side, sales side, finance side, etc. So I think it's very important for you to sort of have that soft skill that gives you a big edge over, let's say, somebody who doesn't have that, so that you're able to articulate and sort of showcase the value that you have built. Second most important point why soft skill sort of become very important for a developer is that's how you'll also be able to progress in your career. Whether you're a developer as an entry developer or a senior developer, I think the natural extension would be either to become an engineering manager or a product manager, whichever way you're leaning.
Or entrepreneur,
Or entrepreneur, or maybe CTO or sort of head of engineering, etc. A lot of these roles then end up becoming, how do you mentor your team? How do you talk to business stakeholders and create and sort of come up with products, etc. And a lot of those skill sets require soft skills. So it's great to sort of like build that up early on in your career.
So there's a question, Jaspreet, which Zia Sharif is asking. How should you balance programming skills as automation is threatening IT skills? So if you can perhaps talk about software versus IT.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, we do hear a lot about this in the newspaper as well, about automation threatening IT skills. I think the first point to realize is what kind of IT skills is automation threatening. I think most of the skills in terms of automation sort of replacing it is largely in the lower level sort of skill set.
And repetitive skills.
And repetitive. I mean, think about it. Like if your automation is nothing but sort of doing a machine or a software doing what humans were earlier doing, right? That's essentially the idea of automation. And they will be largely sort of going after jobs where, repetitive work is going on, maybe the low-end IM, BPO jobs, or the low-end IT, maybe manual testing, or some of these sort of jobs which are slightly more under risk, maybe some infrastructure management jobs which cloud is taking away, etc. Some of these jobs will get sort of fewer and fewer in the future. But at the same time, as these jobs become fewer, the job where problem solving, the job where development, the job where you're creating products, the job where you're coding to create a business solution,
And
that
problem
becomes
solving.
and problem solving, that becomes more and more crucial. We, at the same time as we are seeing a decrease in the demand at the low level of IT skill set, we're seeing an increase in demand in sort of skill areas like full stack development in the industry.
In fact, full stack development is ranked
number one in Indeed.com.
It's a number one ranked job.
In 2017, Indeed.com world over ranked full stack development as the number one job. And the reason is, guys, developers are crucial to a business these days. I mean, I think Mark Anderson from Silicon Valley is sort of famously quoted as saying, software is eating the world, right? Look at what happened to transportation. Look at what, I mean, Uber became Uber because of software, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, what you have to realize is what type of skill set is getting automated and where is the more valuable skill set. And one of that area is full stack development.
So I think there was a question that that we got was Suman.
Yeah.
So Suman, I got the answer. So a fresh engineering straight out of college, a full stack developer would be, a front end developer would be anywhere between close to 6 to 7 lakh rupees or above, depending upon which sort of college, etc., that he graduated. But this is the entry level salary
without any experience.
Without any experience.
Yeah. So that's already almost 2x of what a regular IT fresher would be able to get. Great. So just taking some of your more questions, guys. What all companies will be providing internships? So guys, this is a work in progress list, but we already have some of the marquee startups in the country sort of signing up for this program. We have HapPay, we have Nikki.ai, and we're sort of like continuously increasing in sort of that internship role. So you will be able to work on lots of cool startups via the internships. Then Rishabh is asking, Suman is asking, is the internship for 7 months? So guys, there is no maximum criteria. Like it really depends on the company and what kind of length and internship they're looking for. We will hope to keep it as a minimum of 3 months. But the maximum really depends on the appetite of both you as an intern who's taking up the internship and the company who wants to sort of do it. Rishabh is saying, does UpGrad provide interview prep sessions with experts on frequently asked topics in P1? Ask so that we can prepare better for internships. Yes, Rishabh. So UpGrad, as part of the entire learning experiences, we do spend a lot of time in helping you prep for career assistance. This is done in various formats. Some of the key elements would be helping build your resume, your GitHub, your sort of LinkedIn profile, helping you with sort of some of the very basic or some of the more important foundational questions which are regularly asked in good developer interviews, like on data structures, algorithms, etc. And finally, sort of helping you with some coding examinations or hackathons, etc. So I think, yes, as sort of the internships roll out, we will be sort of organizing career weeks and career sessions which will help you prepare for that.
So you will also be paired with an industry mentor who will conduct sessions with you as you go along. Those sessions you should leverage for interview preps, career-related questions, and we'll also share with you the commonly asked questions and even organize mock interview calls. So that you can go through this program. This program has about 200 hours of hands-on learning experience. All of this has been built in so that on the interview thing, you can crack each of these answers very, very well.
Guys, you have to realize ultimately in an interview, there are two most important elements. One is that you have to sort of like make the user or make the interviewer understand that, you know, you have the sort of the core sort of foundational skills. I think I was just talking to the director of engineering at UpGrad last week, and she said that my first interview would be whether you know how to code a linked list. What are the most popular data structures, etc. How do you code a particular data structure? Why this data structure? So like she spends the first interview primarily on the foundation skills because those are the real skills which will help you sort of build good code, build good product. If you don't fail that sort of first round, she'll not even ask you for the second interview. So it's not about you. Of course, your coding skills are important, but that's only asked second. First, you have to sort of show the problem-solving skills. The second important element to show on your profile is your actual experience. I think I regularly say that coding is one skill where you can easily show to someone how skillful you are. Maybe a manager is not able to do that, but a developer will definitely be able to do it because he will be able to show the portfolio of products or solutions he has built. And as part of the program, you'll be building 4 or 5 very big sort of projects, which will help sort of showcase and make your portfolio much better.
Software development is a lot, I mean, it is a lot more like art than it is like science. And the reason why I'm saying is that there's a lot of subjectivity involved in how beautifully you can create that particular software also. And similar to creative fields in which, let's say if a photographer has to end up getting a job, he will share or he or she will share the portfolio of work that that person has worked on for that person to get the project. Similarly, in software development, that's where the industry will move towards, where before even you get to the interview stage, you may have to share a portfolio of work.
Yes.
That portfolio of work is a very strong indication and signal that I'm a serious person and I know what I'm doing at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So I think it's a boon in some way that you don't have to sort of your portfolio becomes your resume in some sense.
So there's one more question that Jaspreet, we are getting asked, and maybe it's very important that when it comes to online programs, people feel that, oh, if I have a doubt, how will the doubt get resolved? If I have a question, will I get it quickly?
Yes.
So Prerna had this question that how quickly she can get responses to any queries that she may have. And that's a fair point, and maybe you can explain how software helped us solve that problem.
Absolutely, guys. So I think so one product that we built specifically to help resolve doubt for candidates in a very sort of quick turnaround time was with this product called Discussion Forum that we built into the learning experience. What happens, guys, is that you are learning in a class, right? If you sort of think back about your college experience where you were in a classroom, oftentimes you would ask your friend first, right? Can you help me sort of figure this out? Or maybe your study mate, etc. So we sort of like created a similar experience on our online platform, which was developed by our developer himself. That, if you have a particular doubt, you post it on the discussion forum, which is a very live 24/7 forum where your peers would take the first attempt at answering your questions. And most of the time that we have seen since the last 3 years of running, I would say, I don't know, like 300, 4,000 about learners, is that a lot of time that is enough. People do respond very, very quickly and help resolve the doubt, because that's how peer learning also works out. If that question is resolved, then it's great. If it is not, we have a TA support system where every query or every doubt that is raised on the discussion forum gets approved or gets answered by a teaching assistant in the matter of 24 to 48 hours. It's a very specified turnaround time. That in most cases takes care of the doubt. You have one more channel for expressing your doubt if something urgent has come up. You have dedicated student mentor support, who are essentially your friends, your buddies through this sort of long 11-month journey of doing this upskilling, right? You can call that person or sort of express your academic doubt to that person, and he will get the right amount of help and at the right time for you. And then finally, I think you can give us a call. You can sort of like tell us if you have something that you want to talk about. We also regularly organize live sessions. I think sometimes what we see is if there's a common doubt coming up, which a lot of students are struggling with or they want to ask, we regularly organize sort of online webinars, sometimes conducted by professors, sometimes conducted by teaching assistants, which is another forum for you to get your doubt resolved. These sessions happen in the frequency of 2 to 3 weeks, but can be done on a need basis as and when the students want it.
So just was Jaspreet mentioned on the discussion forum, for the first 24 hours, UpGrad does not want to jump in. We expect the peers to sort of look at the answer. Between 24 to 48 hours, we have a pool of teaching associates spread across pan-India. So this is where we have built something similar to Uber of teaching associates. The moment a question pops up, either between our sort of internal subject matter expert or the pool of 100 plus teaching associates that we have pooled in, the question will pop up on their filter. They will go to the response, they will validate the response, they will say yes, no, etc. And in case, as Jaspreet mentioned, if you have questions further, then a TA can get on a call with you directly and provide you with clarification, or the live sessions would come in handy to solve for that particular
problem. And we regularly do that. Like it's in some of our software development programs already running. So we often organize sessions to sort of help students with that. Ajay has a question that why was the course name changed from software development from software engineering? I think Ajay, I think we took this call very early on during sort of the launch of the program. We realized that software development was more closely aligned to the curriculum that we had built, where we were sort of like very closely matching to the developer sort of talent and developer demand in the market. And it was more closely aligned with the kind of teaching we're doing, both in terms of the projects, in terms of the course curriculum. So that was the reason behind we sort of changing that.
Suman had asked this question on internships. Do we have more details in terms of academic criteria?
Yes.
Also, is the internship for junior or senior positions?
Yeah, so I think there is no fixed criteria in terms of the position of the internship. I think my sense is most of the internship offer would be for the junior positions, because that's where sort of the most intern demand is from the companies. But we would see some senior level positions as well. But I think they'll be in a tight range of early years to maybe 1 or 2 years of experience. I think that's where most of the internship demand lies in the market. In terms of the academic criteria, I think we do have some specified criteria that is mentioned on the web page, and it would be you can sort of access to it. But I think you need to be a certain minimum GPA that you have to maintain to be eligible for the program.
For the internship.
For the internship, sorry. So that is you're largely sort of able to sort of cover most of the concepts and have demonstrated your sort of understanding of that learning. So you have to have a minimum GPA. I think the details would be shared by you. I think somewhere around 3 or 3.3, something like that.
Sure. So then the question from Shivraj is, a fresher.
Yes.
How should I look at cracking a job in the software development field? So I'm assuming, Shivraj, you're not referring to IT and software sort of engineering roles, but software development, which is a product-centric role.
So. Yes. I mean, I think I would say you would be in really high demand. I think if you can sort of demonstrate the mindset that we've been talking about in this session, if you can demonstrate the skill sets from both like the kind of project portfolio that you would have built, the kind of problem-solving mindset you show, I think you would be in just so much demand that you will just get calls. I don't think you even have to sort of like hunt for jobs. As long as you sort of like show the skill sets, like you'll get like 5 calls every day in terms of just getting this job. There's just so much demand for this kind of
But at the same time, for the interview, you need to prepare for problem-solving skills. Many a times you will get started with a puzzle or a very basic problem-solving thing. They will check whether you can help in sort of solving the problem or not. Then they will test you for some amount of coding skills based on the portfolio that you would have created.
Yes.
And all those things will go into handy, and how your communication skills are.
Yeah.
All of those things will go in handy when you're sort of looking at a program in a product development or software development role, because these roles mean that you have problem solving.
Yeah.
You're always thinking in this particular program.
And yes, I mean, good companies especially are very, very careful in terms of the developer talent that they have, because again, they invest a lot in this talent and they want this talent to be really, really good. So again, this kind of preparation, this kind of help will be provided in the program to sort of help you jump that stage.
Sure. So Anirban has a question. Is 50% marks necessary to join the program? As for example, the skills acquired in different domain does not help. So do we need a 50% minimum criteria?
I think if you, I would sort of encourage you to still apply, Anirban, even if you don't have that 50% mark necessary. I think there is the admission process takes care of both the academic side that you have in terms of the qualification, as well as your experience, even if it's from a different domain, as long as you can sort of like showcase that you have good experience, have the sort of the developer aptitude and the mindset. Perhaps we will test that through a simple online test if you don't sort of have that experience of that domain. But as long as you have the aptitude, the program is actually created for somebody who has absolutely zero experience. It is a sort of a 11-month long program with about 3 weeks of prep content, which is absolutely sort of free of cost for anybody who registers with us. Even if you have, let's say, a business or a sales background, you can become a developer as long as you sort of showcase the aptitude for picking up programming.
So that also answers Yash Surana question. Person of commerce background doing first year college without any knowledge of coding can join.
Yeah.
So 2 things on that. I think one is, I'll answer, if you are fresh out of your commerce undergrad education, you can join.
Yes.
You will have to go through the prep program initially, which is
about 3 weeks long. I think even if you're in the final year of your undergrad commerce education, you can still join. Because this is a postgraduate diploma program, guys. So ultimately, to get the postgraduate diploma, you have to have finished your undergraduate by that time.
Yep.
So even if you're at the beginning of your final year, it's an 11-month-long journey. By the time you graduate out of your final year of undergrad, you would have sort of met the conditions for getting the postgraduate diploma program. However, unfortunately, if you're in the first year of college, you would not have completed your undergrad by the time the program finishes, so you would not be able to eligible.
You will not be eligible,
for the postgraduate diploma program. Sorry, but yes, I mean, as soon as you enter the third year, the beginning of the third year, you can apply.
Sure. Prerna has a question, Jaspreet, which she's asking: what kind of projects will you work on the capstone one?
Yeah. So Prerna, I think the primary object, these capstone projects and even the course projects are designed in a way that we will sort of like help you build products. So for example, one of the core projects we have in backend is around building a social networking site like Quora. It's like a social Q&A site. In a front end part of the program, you'll be building something like a like an Instagram, where you'll be having a very rich visual sort of front-end code. In the capstone project, again, you'll be working on one or two options. I think you'll have an option of either working on creating a wallet-based app, or you'll be doing something similar to a location-based product. By the way, guys, this is something that we will help create for you. But I know the main thing that we want you guys to pick up any innovative idea and like develop code or sort of like build a project around it. So it will not be restricted from that perspective. You can come up with any software solution that you want to code yourself. However, these 3 or 4 example I gave is things that we will sort of help facilitate.
So just one more question, just following up on this, on live projects. How do we create a portfolio of codes apart from the project assignments covered during the course? Yeah. That's a question that Komal has.
Absolutely. So Komal, I think this is very, very important point that you have raised. I think a lot of the developer community, the developer talent recruitment relies on what students or what professionals are doing in the field outside of their core work. So for example, if you are, let's say, writing about 200 hours worth of code in the program, you're developing 3 or 4 project portfolios, which will be great for your recruitment, but you need to go above and beyond. And I think 2 or 3 things that come to my mind: you should be an active participant in communities like Stack Overflow, maybe Product Hunt. If you're sort of like starting to think about developing a product of your own, you should be participating in hackathons, either online or offline, where you would be sort of doing this intensive sort of software development work, which is again great for your portfolio. I think you would sort of like contribute, if you can have the time, contribute to open source communities. This is very, very useful, because I think if you build something that gets accepted into the open source community and gets picked up, that's, I would say, like a gold star on your resume, because then there's absolutely no better way to show a developer talent than to sort of get accepted into the open source community. So that's again a very good way for you to sort of like showcase your. These are 2 or 3 things that comes to my mind right now, which you can sort of use to stand apart.
In fact, it's very important that if you pick up something beyond the program, it is absolutely valuable. We have seen people who have made significant jump of 50 to 100% in terms of the salary after some of our program, because they took projects beyond what was there in the program itself. So have a GitHub profile, put up your codes, circulate those codes while you're doing the interviews. But at the same time, as Jaspreet mentioned, during the program, you will work across 3-4 different projects, which will help you create the portfolio to start with. But don't stop at those 3-4 projects. Add more from what your personal experience have been as well.
Great. So Prerna, I think one other question you have is how are you going to evaluate? I think so. We will have trained teaching assistants and graders who are faculty appointed, who would be sort of like reviewing your code, sort of like checking for both input, output, as well as the efficiency of code, etc.
And plagiarism.
And plagiarism to help you evaluate. Again, very quickly moving on, Suman is asking a question on, Prerna asked another question. Are student mentors going to solve technical knowledge and will solve all technical problems? So guys, student mentors, think of them as your buddies, your friends who will help you through the journey, help you sort of figure out if you're stuck with something, whether technical or non-technical, how to sort of like resolve it. They wouldn't actively be involved in subject matter of that technical, but they will help get the right support, whether it is from the content team, whether it's from the grading team, etc.
So you will realize that when you start doing the program, sometimes your motivation levels drop and you say, how do I do this? How do I continue this? That's the time you will realize the value of student mentor, because these are the guys who will keep on pushing you to finish the program, be successful.
Yes.
Their success and their their incentives are aligned as per your own success.
Yes.
So if you are successful, those guys are successful. So they will keep on pushing you all the time to make sure that you are attending the interviews, you are preparing your GitHub, your LinkedIn profiles are right, your social media presence is the right one. Because unless you do all the hygiene work, your success chances reduces.
Yeah.
So they will do all it takes to improve the probability for your success. Parallelly, as Jaspreet mentioned, we have a Uber of TAs, teaching associates, and in-house subject matter team that will provide clarification to any potential technical queries.
Yeah, perfect. Great. So,
Suman.
I'm just thinking one question from Ajay. Can I interact with professors offline? Absolutely. I think the professors from IIIT Bangalore are very, very sort of curious and always sort of willing to meet our students. So, I mean, you can just go to IIIT Bangalore and meet the professors. You
just fix up a time before that.
Yeah, fix up a time with them and go to the Electronic City campus and meet the professors. You can sort of do special projects with them. If you want to contribute to research, you can do that with them. you can just sort of like feel very comfortable and open to sort of go to that.
And I'm putting that back again, that if you are looking at starting something of your own, take up this program, because this program will also allow you access to some kind of incubation facility at IIIT Bangalore campus as well.
Great.
PG diploma.
Yeah, so Suman is asking why is it called PG diploma and not just PG? So Suman, so it's a very sort of straightforward answer. I mean, you are going to get a postgraduate diploma from IIIT Bangalore successfully completing the program. It's a sort of a formal recognized qualification from the institute. So hence the name of the program.
So it's also because if you think of it, Suman, even the IIMs right now offer PG diploma.
Yeah.
So there is, from a regulation, from an authority perspective, that's what the university can offer, and therefore they are offering this. But the IIMs or some of the management institution offer PG diploma program, which is considered as par with a postgraduate level qualification.
Great. So Uday had a question on why the course costs 2.25 lakhs when all course content is available online for much lesser price. Do you provide any placements? So I think this is more sort of a larger question in terms of the kind of learning experience and how should a student differentiate between some of the more sort of cheaper or freely available course content online versus our.
So I'll really take that. So Suman, my question is, if there are any course content available freely, there is no need for any education. I'm with you on that one. But you go through entire program for multiple reasons. You need feedback, you need push, you need the right kind of assessment to be done. You need to know what you're good at, what you're bad at. You need a very structured flow of the entire learning, because there's so much content, you always get drowned.
Yes.
And that's what education does. I think content was always there. If you go to a university or if you go to a library, you can get access to all the content that you want to get. But you still would go to the university. And that going to a university or a college requires getting access to a peer-to-peer engagement, interaction with faculty members, getting feedback, going through the entire program. All is what sort of this program offers.
Yeah.
Further, we do have placement assistance, wherein we will work with you on your CV, on your profile, on your on how to sort of present your work. And in parallel, we will also bring in companies who will post jobs, who will sort of look at hiring talent. As I said, UpGrad is open to hiring talent right now once you complete the front-end program. So those activities will continue to happen as we go along through the program.
Great. Anirban has a question. Can I get access to the IIITB library and computer lab and attend lectures there if I move to Bangalore? I am from Calcutta.
So library access is there.
For sure. Library access for sure. I think you can perhaps we can even get you the computer lab access if needed. Attend lectures, I think
that we are not sure of.
Yeah, that we're not sure of. Anirban, I think we'll have to sort of check with the individual professor and sort of like get the requisite sort of permission. I think unless you're taking up an actual program, that it might be a little hard, but I'm sure there are some lectures that you can definitely attend based on the professors.
Just on a side note, Anirban, there have been requests that have come to us from who are taking lectures on campus, whether they can take our online program or not. So we have said no to them also. As the lectures team have said, right now it's not allowed, but you can definitely access the library. It's right opposite the Infosys office, so you guys can.
It's a very beautiful campus, guys, in a very beautiful part of Bangalore. So.
And then the faculty member, just to add to all what we are saying, the faculty member will be teaching you and taking you through the program are absolutely the best quality software sort of development professors that you will find. And those guys are supplemented by a lot of industry professionals.
Yes.
So it's going to be a very, very enriching experience for each one of you.
Yes.
Surana has asked for scholarships.
Scholarships. So I think Yash, Yash on scholarships. I think we usually don't do scholarships too much. I think there are very sort of rare occasions where if there's a very sort of deserving candidate or there is a particular sort of means related point where there is an absolute like need for education, but the person doesn't can't afford or can't sort of have the right access to it. I think we consider it on an exception basis, but we don't necessarily sort of like have a scholarship program.
Add to what Jaspreet says, my co-founder Ronnie, he has institutionalized a scholarship fund.
Yes.
So yes, you can reach out to your admission counselor, and they should be able to just give you some more information about that scholarship fund that Ronnie is running.
Yes.
So Prerna has a question. At the end of the program, what sort of certificate will we get, and how is it going to help us a job? So Prerna, at the end of the program, you will receive a postgraduate diploma. It's a PG diploma in software development. It's a one-year long PG diploma that you will receive.
Yes.
This will be from IIIT Bangalore. That is the valuable credential that you can go to any employer and say that, look, I did this 500 hour or 400 hours of learning from IIIT Bangalore, 200 hours of hands-on work. I have been graded. You will also receive a CGPA or credit grade point average on a scale of 4. IIIT Bangalore follows a very US-centric approach. In US, you receive GPA out of scale of 4. So out here also, you will receive GPA out of scale of 4. The entire evaluation process is very much in line with what the global Ivy schools also do. So you will get international experience in terms of education for software development.
Yes, great. Yes, are the lectures delivered by IIITB faculty? Yeah, so most of the, so I think it's a combination of IIITB faculty delivering parts of the program where most of the academic or most of the sort of conceptual knowledges need to be delivered. You'll also hear a lot from industry experts who will bring you the best practices and the application areas for various sort of elements on software development. So you'll be served with the best combination of both worlds.
Yeah. So each topic has a IIIT Bangalore faculty as lead. He or she will get and work with some industry faculty and sort of help you learn it very, very fast.
So Ajay is asking, can I apply for internships India/abroad while I'm in program? So I'm not sure if you meant that can you apply for internships abroad, but of course you can. India, definitely you can, as long as you're able to sort of like do the internships by all means.
Yep.
Great.
So with that, I guess we have covered all the questions.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for one last question from you guys. This has been a very, very interesting session. We've sort of covered a large gamut of things, and thank you so much for a very, very interactive session where we've sort of been able to cover a lot of the key elements of what it takes to be a software developer, why software development primarily is so important, especially in today's day and age, and how company across the board, and specifically even you heard from from Mayank himself on the UpGrad's journey and why we value development talent so much, and why in India we need more and more people to take up this role. I think that's where the country is headed, where we sort of want to build product companies out of here, and that's where I think we want our talent base to develop.
So I'll perhaps just end this session from my side, guys. I think if you guys are looking at full stack development, that is an absolutely attractive field for you guys to be in. It is very different from the core IT industry that has been built. So please don't be in the perception that if I've done IT in a technology company, I should be, if I was in QA, I was a senior software developer, I should be able to move here. This role will require a fairly different level of understanding. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to online learning, for many of you, that could be an alien subject. We have built an online program which allows people to interact, engage, network, and with the entire peers, and as well as network and engage and interact with the faculty members also. So it's a very, very immersive learning experience. It is rigorous. It pushes you to the boundary. There's a team that will always be there to handhold you because, as I told you, their incentives are aligned to your own success. And therefore, it is in our best interest to make you guys all successful. You will receive a very, very engaging learning experience, enriching learning experience. We have had 90% plus completion rate in our program. We have had folks who are graduated from the program have transitioned and moved up, and that's a success. After which, as Jaspreet mentioned, more than about 5,000 individuals have paid for our program and are going through the program. They have seen some value, and I would like you guys to sort of consider this program with that light, that it's not anyone who wants to join this program can enter. It's a program which will require a fair amount of work and rigor from each one of you guys, because that transition will stay for you with the rest of your life and not just as one next job for you. So the program starts end of March. End of March, the program starts, guys. So if you're interested in sort of building a career in this domain, in this field of software development, very exciting, as much as it is now, and I would say it's an evergreen sort of industry where, I mean, it just continues to grow and continues to sort of demand more and more people to be that way. I think. So what's the last date of? I think you can sort of continue to apply over the next few weeks. We would be closing admissions somewhere in sort of the early part of March. I would encourage you to apply as soon as you want, because sometimes the process takes a little bit of time. So great, guys. With that, sort of, I think we want to end the session. I would like to thank Mayank for taking his time out to talk to us, and great. It was great chatting with you guys, and we hope to sort of connect sometime again in the future. And see you guys in the program. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.